Hi, I'm Ronan. 6 years of marriage to Mia had been mostly blissful until 3 months ago when something changed. The late-night texts, the sudden password changes, and those mysterious girls' trips that seemed to multiply on our calendar. Hey, babe, Mia said, packing a small suitcase one Thursday evening. Sarah and I are heading to Lake Tahoe for the weekend, just some spa time, you know? Girls need to unwind. I watched her carefully select lingerie I hadn't seen in months. That's a lot of fancy underwear for a spa weekend. Oh, please, she laughed, waving dismissively. A girl likes to feel good, even when it's just friends. Third girl's trip this month, I said, trying to keep my voice casual. Work must be stressing you out. You have no idea. She kissed my cheek, quick, distracted. Don't wait up tomorrow. Our flight's delayed, so we'll get in late. After she left, I called my buddy Jake over. We'd been friends since college, and he'd never liked Mia. Something's off, I told him, handing him a beer. 3 girls' trips in a month, and Sarah's husband Jason told me at the gym that Sarah was working this weekend. Jake set his beer down slowly. You're finally seeing it, huh? Seeing what? My stomach tightened. Man, I didn't want to be the one. He rubbed his face. But you deserve to know. Just say it, Jake. She's not going with Sarah. She's meeting some guy named Derek, corporate lawyer from her firm. I sat down hard. How do you know this? My sister works at the hotel downtown where they meet sometimes. Recognized Mia from our barbecue last summer. You're sure about this? My voice sounded strange, distant, positive, and there's more. This Lake Tahoe trip, she's not going with Sarah, she's going with him. How long have you known? I felt heat rising in my face. About a month. I wanted to tell you, but a month? I stood up so quickly my chair fell backward. You've known a month and said nothing? I needed proof. Would you have believed me without it? You're crazy about her. So where's this proof? Jake pulled out his phone. My sister sent me these from the hotel security feed, and I've got the confirmation email for the Tahoe reservation. It's in both their names, Mia and Derek Sullivan. He showed me photos of my wife entering a hotel elevator wrapped around a tall man in an expensive suit. The timestamp showed last Tuesday, when she was supposedly working late. She told me she had a dinner with clients, I whispered. Jake's eyes were sympathetic. What are you going to do? I stared at the photo, my marriage crumbling before my eyes. I'm going to Tahoe. Jake drove me home, watching me pack with concerned eyes. You need a plan, man. You can't just show up and start throwing punches. That'll only hurt you in the divorce. Divorce, I repeated, the word strange in my mouth. Yeah, guess that's where we're headed. Call my cousin, Jake suggested, handing me a business card. Detective Wilson, private investigator. He can document everything legally. I called Wilson immediately. His gruff voice answered on the second ring. I can meet you in Tahoe tomorrow, he said after I explained everything. We'll document everything, get statements, do this by the book. The next morning I flew to Tahoe. Wilson met me at a coffee shop near the resort where Mia and her boyfriend were staying. Here's what we know, Wilson said, sliding photos across the table. Your wife and this Derek Sullivan checked in yesterday evening. They've had dinner, breakfast, and are currently at the resort spa. We have witnesses, timestamps, and video. God, I muttered, staring at photos of Mia holding hands with Derek across a candlelit table. How long do you think this has been going on? Based on hotel records my team pulled, at least 6 months. The door chimed and a woman hurried in. I recognized Sarah, Mia's supposed trip companion. Ronan, she said, sliding into our booth. Jake said I'd find you here. You knew, I said flatly, all this time. Not at first, Sarah insisted, her eyes pleading. I swear, she used me as her cover story without telling me. When I found out, I felt terrible, but she swore it was ending. When did you find out? Wilson asked, recording our conversation. 2 months ago. Mia asked me to answer her phone if you called while we were supposedly shopping. That's when I realized what was happening. And you said nothing, I said, anger rising. She's my friend too. She promised it was a mistake, a one-time thing. 6 months isn't a mistake, I snapped. It's a second relationship. I know, Sarah looked down. That's why I'm here. After Jake called, I realized I've been enabling this. It's wrong. What else do you know? Wilson pressed. Sarah took a deep breath. They're planning to leave their jobs. Derek's starting a firm and taking Mia as his partner. They've been using company resources to build their client base. That would violate their employment contracts, Wilson noted, writing rapidly. I stood suddenly. I want to confront them. Now. Whoa! Wilson grabbed my arm. We need to be strategic. I've been strategic enough, I said, pulling away. Time for the truth. I stood in the hallway outside their hotel room, Wilson and Sarah flanking me. My heart hammered against my ribs. Remember, Wilson whispered, no physical confrontation, just the truth. I knocked. Footsteps approached, and the door swung open. Mia stood there in a hotel robe, her smile freezing when she saw me. Ronan! Her face drained of color. What are you doing here? Hi, honey, I said calmly. Thought I'd join your girls' trip. Where's Sarah? Oh, wait, she's right here with me. Derek appeared behind her, also in a robe. Mia, who's... He stopped, understanding dawning on his face. Come in, I said, pushing past them both. Let's all talk. This isn't what it looks like, Mia stammered, tying her robe tighter. Really? I laughed, a harsh sound. Because it looks like my wife is cheating on me with her coworker in a 5-star resort. Ronan, please. She reached for my arm. I can explain everything. 6 months, Mia, I said, shaking her off. 6 months of lies. Was any of it real? Of course it was. Tears filled her eyes. I made a terrible mistake. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, I interrupted. This is a deliberate betrayal. Every day for 6 months, you chose this. Derek stepped forward. Look, man, I understand you're upset. You understand nothing, I snapped. You're sleeping with my wife while I paid for this trip. Shut up. Don't talk to him like that, Mia said, moving to Derek's side. Wow, I laughed. Still defending him. Amazing. Ronan, I'm sorry, Mia was crying now. I never meant to hurt you. We can work through this. We can get counseling. No, I said firmly. We can't. There's nothing to work through. It's over. Please, she begged. I love you. This was just a mistake, a phase. Save it. I turned to Wilson. You got what you need? He nodded, lowering his phone camera. What is this? Derek demanded. Who are you? Private investigator, Wilson replied. Documenting adultery and company policy violations for divorce proceedings and your employer. You can't do this, Mia shouted, lunging toward Wilson. Give me that phone, Sarah stepped between them. Mia, stop. This is happening because of your choices. You betrayed me? Mia's eyes widened. After everything? You betrayed your husband, Sarah replied quietly. I'm just telling the truth now. Mia's face contorted. I'll make you all sorry, she hissed, grabbing a lamp and hurling it against the wall. This is my life you're ruining. No, I said as Wilson recorded her outburst. You did that all by yourself. 3 months later, I sat in my lawyer's office reviewing the final divorce settlement. Congratulations, Patricia, my attorney said. The evidence of her affair and workplace misconduct was overwhelming. With her assault charge from the hotel incident, we got everything we asked for. I didn't want everything, I said quietly. I just wanted honesty. The door opened and Jake walked in. All set? I nodded. Just signed the papers. It's done. How are you feeling? Patricia asked, organizing the documents into a folder. Relieved, I admitted, and exhausted. That's normal, she said. Betrayal trauma takes time to heal. Are you still seeing that therapist I recommended? Dr. Myers? Yeah, weekly. It helps. Jake leaned against the doorframe. The support group too? Surprisingly, yes, I said. Never thought I'd be in a divorce recovery group, but hearing other stories puts mine in perspective. As we left, my phone rang, Mia's number. Jake raised his eyebrows. You going to answer? I hesitated, then picked up. Hello? Ronan. Her voice was soft, pleading. Can we meet, please? I've had time to think. There's nothing to discuss, Mia. I lost my job, she continued desperately. Derek, too. His wife took everything in their divorce. The firm is suing us both. I have nothing left. That's unfortunate, I said flatly. I made a terrible mistake, she whispered. I miss you. I miss our life. We could try again. No, we can't. Your actions had consequences, that's all. Please, she begged. I still love you. I always have. If you loved me, you wouldn't have betrayed me for 6 months. Goodbye, Mia. I hung up as Jake and I reached his car. She okay? Jake asked, starting the engine. No, I said. She lost everything. Job, boyfriend, reputation. Do you feel bad? I considered the question. I feel bad it came to this, but I didn't cause any of it. You hear what happened at the firm? Jake asked, turning onto the highway. Some of it. Patricia mentioned a lawsuit. It's worse than that, Jake said. Their boss, Claire, called me yesterday. Apparently, they were stealing client information for months. Planning to poach the top accounts? Claire called you? Yeah, we went to law school together. Small world. Jake glanced at me. She wanted to thank you, actually. The evidence Wilson gathered exposed a bigger problem at the firm. Several partners were involved. So it wasn't just about the affair, I realized, not even close. Derek was the ringleader of something much bigger. Your divorce case blew the lid off a major corporate espionage situation. Jesus, I muttered. No wonder Mia sounds desperate. Sarah said she's been calling everyone, Jake continued, showing up at people's houses crying, even Derek's wife. It's getting messy. She made her choices, I said, looking out the window. Now she's living with them. Sarah and Jason are hosting a barbecue next weekend. Wanted to know if you come. Maybe, I said, watching the world pass by, one day at a time. Later that evening, Wilson visited my new apartment, bringing final case files. Just so you know, he said, handing me a folder, Derek's wife hired me too. Between both divorces and the company lawsuit, they're finished professionally. I didn't want revenge, I said, setting the folder aside. I just wanted the truth. Sometimes the truth is the best revenge, Wilson replied. You planning to date again soon? I shook my head. Not ready. Need to figure out who I am without all this first. Smart man, Wilson nodded approvingly. For what it's worth, you handled this with dignity. Most clients don't. How's Derek's wife doing? I asked. Emily, right? Better than expected, Wilson said. She suspected something for a while. The confirmation was almost a relief. We're actually getting coffee next week. Really? I raised an eyebrow. That's interesting. Wilson chuckled. Professional meeting. But who knows, shared trauma creates bonds. Speaking of bonds, I said, my therapist suggested I write Mia a final letter. Not to send, just for closure. Good idea. What would you say? That's the thing, I replied. I sat down to write all these angry things, but when I started, I realized I didn't feel much of anything anymore. Just done. That's healing, Wilson said, standing to leave. Indifference is the opposite of love, not hate. A week later, I met Sarah and Jason for lunch before their barbecue. I ran into Mia yesterday, Sarah said hesitantly. She's moving back with her parents in Ohio. How did she look? I asked, surprised by my own curiosity. Defeated, Sarah admitted. She asked me to give you this. She slid an envelope across the table. I don't want it. I know, but she insisted. Said it's not asking for forgiveness, just explaining her side. Jason, who had been quiet, finally spoke. You don't owe her anything, man. Not even reading that letter. You're right, I said, taking the envelope and dropping it, unopened, into my coffee. Some stories don't need another chapter. Later that night, I called Dr. Myers for our scheduled therapy session. How are you processing everything? She asked. I'm starting to see it differently, I replied. This wasn't something that happened to me. It's something that happened, period. I can't control other people's choices, only how I respond. That's significant progress, Ronan. I'm realizing something else too, I continued. The marriage I thought I had never existed. I was in love with someone who wasn't real. And how does that make you feel? Like I've been given a second chance, I said, surprising myself with the certainty in my voice, to build something authentic this time. After Wilson left, I sat on my balcony watching the sunset. 6 months ago, my life had seemed perfect. Now everything was different. Not worse, just different. My phone chimed with a text from Jake. You good? I typed back, getting there, one honest day at a time. And for the first time in months, I realized it was true. The betrayal still hurt, but the lies were finally over. In the end, that's all I'd really wanted. Not revenge, but truth. Though watching the consequences of her actions unfold had provided its own kind of justice. What would you do if your entire life turned out to be built on lies? Would you seek revenge, or would the truth be enough?